Welcome back to another episode of Her Story Untold Studios. I'm your host Tanir, and I'm so excited to have you here with us today. At Her Story Untold Studios, we believe in the power of stories to heal and inspire. Each episode brings you the incredible journeys of women who have faced and overcome immense challenges with resilience and faith. Remember, your story matters too. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay connected with our latest episodes. Your support helps us continue spreading hope and strength. As we always say, every story has the power to transform lives. We have a beautiful guest with us today. I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell us where she's from, and tell us a little bit about her.
Let me figure out if I could just bowl it up into hey everybody, I'm a little crazy. Don't pay me no mind. So my name is Lynia Love. I am an actor, a filmmaker, a producer, an author, a podcaster. And I am the owner of the Create Some Itch brand where I am just helping people to find their passion and their purpose during just in life in general because things are just crazy and I want to be able to help you find your passion and your purpose. I don't care if you like knitting sweaters for cats. It's a passion. You love doing it. You can find a purpose and saving some baby cats. We want to make it happen for you.
Yes. Okay. And where you said that you're located?
I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised. I'm from Trenton, New
Ooh.
Jersey. Everything Jersey for me. Like, I've been all over
Okay.
the world, but I'm a Jersey girl always and forever. And there are some areas that I'll be like, well, this is like temporary home, but always and forever Jersey, but based in Pennsylvania right
Okay. Well, we neighbors. What was your experience like working in a male centered environment?
now. Ooh. In the beginning, you don't really think about, all right, this is male dominated because you're still learning. So when I first started my job, which my job has nothing to do with what my passion and my purpose is, it was because I needed a paycheck. And I was like, I got to find some work. And my son was younger then. Actually, yeah, he was younger then. And it was like, I got to find some work. And I found this particular job, and it had nothing to do with what I did before because I was a legal assistant before that. This was a completely different genre. It was in the manufacturing field doing logistics, and I'd never done logistics. So when I first started, it was one, two, three. It was three women that worked there, but I was only, and it was cool at first, but I started to see how the dynamic was as I continued working there. And in the earlier years, the bullying started with one particular female. And in the beginning, you're like, I just started. I don't really want to rock the boat. I need this job, because that's the thing that we tell ourselves. You need it. You got bills when you have children. So it was like, I got to stay here and I'm going to have to take everything that this chick is giving me right now just for the sake of getting a paycheck. And it was hard, and I did it for a long time before the switch happened. And that switch was um, around COVID when she got let go. And then
Mm-hmm.
the male dominated part is it's a family owned business. So you have, brothers and cousins and stuff who own this particular business, and they're running it in a certain way that's like not conducive for me mentally and emotionally because you're placating to just men. They're making more money even when they come in. I've been here for a long time and I'm not seeing, I'm like, well, what's going on? You want me to do all this work, but you don't want to pay me more money. And now I'm in this position. I was at that job for over 10 years. So it
Wow.
wasn't like I just decided to be like, I'm out of here. No, it took me 10 years to make the decision to leave, and it wasn't an easy one. And not because, you know, they were great to me. They weren't great to me. I dealt with misogyny. I dealt with racism, sexism, classism, like all the isms you could think of, I dealt with it on a
Right.
day-to-day basis. And even during COVID, I was the only person who worked in the office. Everyone else worked from home.
Oh, wow.
So the whole time we were on lockdown, I was physically getting dressed to go to work in office while everyone else was sitting home on their computer, being able to work from home. And that kind of started something in me like, yeah, I got to get out of here because this ain't right. You know, when you start to
Right.
speak up for yourself, especially when you're a Black woman, that's a problem. You're becoming a problem. As long as you're quiet and you don't say anything, and you take what they're dishing out, they don't say nothing at all. You're a good one. But as soon as you start voicing yourself and, letting people know this is not right, this is how I feel, it becomes a problem and then you become the angry Black woman. And that's something I always talked about with my therapist. I never wanted to have that title of angry Black woman until I
Right.
said I no longer care.
Okay. How did this environment affect your mental health in terms of depression and anxiety?
Sometimes we don't know that we're depressed. We know that something is wrong, but as you start to become self-aware, you start to notice things. And
Right.
I started to notice things within me. And I'm like, I don't feel right. I'm not sleeping. My eating is jacked up. And there's this constant, when you wake up in the morning and you have to go to this job and you wake up with dread and fear, that's a problem. And that was my experience. I was dreading going into this place because I knew that by the time I got out, I would be drained and I would just want to go home and not do nothing.
Right.
And it was an everyday thing that I was living it every day, living it, living in it. And I lost part of who I was. Even though life was lifing, I lost part of who I was. Um, Going into this building every day because one, I also knew this is not what God created me for. And I'm a spiritual person. So I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. But whether you say God, the universe, Allah, whoever, I'm a spiritual person. And I was
Mm.
just like, Lord, I know you didn't create me to work in a 9 to 5 capacity for someone else in order for them to make a bunch of money and me still be struggling living paycheck to paycheck. I know that's not why you created. You didn't give me all of this personality and things that I know how to do for me to sit and be stagnant behind a desk doing
Right.
something that doesn't fulfill me. I know that's not what you created me for. Those are the conversations I had with Lord. I'm like, that's not what you created me for. And I had to start fighting that. And I thank God for my therapist. Because when I started seeing her a long time ago, I started seeing my therapist in 2018. And I had been at the job 5 years at that point. And I started seeing her and talking to her and telling her everything that I was going through. It was a shift change that happened for me in that aspect. And I think that if I didn't have that, I would have let the inner voices of doubt and fear and imposter syndrome take over and put me in a space that I may not have been able to come out of.
Right. Okay. Can you describe the challenges of being a caregiver to your parents while dealing with the stress that you were getting from work?
um, the one thing I realized about caregiving within the Black community is that there is not a lot of help when it comes to caregiving within the Black community. And the help that is out there, they want people to be destitute in order to get it. You got to live, you got to have a certain amount of income. You can't be over that. You got to live within a certain area. You got to live within a square mileage of whatever. Um, who has dementia was diagnosed back in 2007. So this has been a long, long ongoing thing, and she's now 75. So, well, no, 76. I apologize. And we have been, and it's my younger brother and I, you know, to see what dementia does to someone that you love. Go from the person that you used to know. I'm a long time in this game with my mom. So I know who she was versus where she's at now. And, you know, in the beginning, it was so hard. And therapy helped me get through that as well, because it's like you're mourning the person that they were, but in reality, they're still here. And you have to love them where they are. So I love my mom where she is. I get to see her, and we get to binge out on Family Feud because she loves Family Feud, or she loves watching Martin. And I love to see her smile and laugh when she's looking at these TV shows because she's still in there. It's just the
Right.
element that she has is blocking her, you know what I mean, fully from coming out.
Right.
She has her separate issue. And then with my dad was a dialysis patient for 5 years. My dad just got a kidney transplant. So we're on a whole nother level where he's been granted a new lease on life, but he needs help adjusting. And that's where we are with him. So I have two different spectrums. One is still self-sufficient. The other one is not self-sufficient. And taking care of both of them, I get to see both sides, but still be active in their lives and engaged to make sure that I just want them to be comfortable and I want them to be happy. Period. But I will say this for caregivers, take care of you. You can't lose yourself in everyone else and not take care of yourself, because that is detrimental to your health.
Right. So, what were some of the signs that made you realize you were overworked and underpaid?
The dreading going to work, waking up every day not wanting to go, the constant thing of not being fulfilled, and the thing of once I finally started to speak up, now I'm a problem. Um, and now you have to put me in my place per se, but I wasn't backing down. And I knew that I was getting my fight back for me. And I had to keep fighting for me. And knowing that when you're already not paying me what I'm worth, and then when I ask you and I lay out every reason why I should, and you agree and you still don't, and you take money from me, it's time for me to go. You don't value me. You just need the body here. It's not me. You just need the body. And I'm just like, I'm good. Like I'm good. I got to get out of here, because if I don't, mentally and emotionally, it was going to break me. And that's what I was scared
Okay.
of.
So, how did you find the courage to walk away?
My partner is like my biggest cheerleader, my counselor, and we talk about everything. So he's seen me cry. He's seen me yell. He's seen me be angry when it comes to that. And it's just like, babe, you got to do what's right for you. Now, I'm not saying, I can't never tell nobody to leave their job. I can't tell you that. But I go back to what I said. God didn't create me for that. That's not what he created me for. And no, I didn't leave with some big bag to be able to support me. I am figuring it out as I go, because this all just happened. I left December of 2023. It's now, we're going into August of 2024. And I will say that, you know, everything that happened after that, had I not left the job, I would have been leaving this year, because once everything happened with my dad, like it's just been like on and popping ever since, where, you know, him being in the hospital for an extended amount of time once he got the kidney, and then once he went to rehab, and then once he came home, and then there's been hospital visits in between, you know what I mean, for complications. So I could not have been at that job. And sometimes those walkouts on faith, you can't plan it. Because if you
Right.
keep telling God, God, this is what I want to do, this is what I want, God gonna test your gangster. He gonna see how serious you are. Because people say, I want it, I want it, I want it. But then when you get put in a position to maneuver a certain way, you be like, no, I can't do that. Oh, no, not yet. Not yet, God. What you mean? You told God that that's what you wanted. Why you telling
Right.
him not? Now you telling him not yet? When the next time it come around, he gonna make you really wait for it. So it was time for me to be like, I gotta get out of here for my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual well-being. I gotta get out of here. And I need to walk in the purpose that God created me for. And I'm working it out. I ain't perfect. Listen, let me tell you something. I am not professing to be anybody's guru out this joint. Not at all. My name is Lynia Love. What I'm doing is I'm being transparent for somebody that I know at least is going to touch one person, because this is what you're dealing with. This is what you're battling with. I ain't trying to sell you no dream. I just want to
Right.
be able to help people see the vision and see their dreams and their purpose and their passions and bring them to fruition and stop putting everything else before you. That's
Absolutely. So, what lessons have you learned from your journey you would like to share with others who may be going through similar situations?
ooh, therapy is your best friend. Finding the right therapist, I know it's hard. Finding the right therapist is like dating. One, you have to be willing to be transparent. Two, you have to be willing to do the work.
Right.
Three, you have to be willing to lay it all down and let it go in order to move forward. You can't move forward if you're still holding on. And that's one of the things I think is important for people to know, is that it's okay to get help. It's okay to not be all right. It's okay to be upset, but don't live in it, because people often victimize themselves and then they stay in that jail. And that's part of the issue. A lot of people don't even see themselves beyond what we were taught growing up, is that, oh, you gotta work, you gotta have a job because, you need a paycheck and you need health insurance. At what
Right.
cost, though? Like I said, it's not for everybody, because people have careers that they love and people have jobs that they like. But then there are those of us who know God called me for a higher purpose. And while I'm here, it's my job to figure that out. And sometimes because I'm older, I feel like, oh my God, I'm finding out so late. But then it's like, no, I'm finding out right on time. Because this is when I was supposed to find out. Because for me, I was a young mother. Like, my son is 31. So it's like, I'm finding out all these things that I didn't know before. And I don't think I would have been able to appreciate them when I was younger the way that I appreciate them now, where I'm at in my big age.
Right. Okay. So, what are your future goals for your brand and business?
So what I am working on now, Create Some Ish is the brand, and I started Create Some Ish back during COVID. And initially it started off with a podcast. I created the Create Some Ish podcast, and I wanted just to connect with people during that time, since we were all so isolated. And I just wanted people to know, like, yo, like, we're still here. We're all in this together, because none of us have experienced a pandemic before. So the podcast was to be able to touch people virtually while we were going through this, to just let them know, like, it's okay. And guess what? During this time, you need to figure out what your passion and your purpose is, because you got one. And that was really, I hate to say it, but COVID was the perfect time for people to figure that out. And a lot of people did. And because of that podcast, I subsequently ended up writing my first book called Create Some Ish, A Guide to Finding Your Passion and Your Purpose. And that book was just talking about my journey and offering some steps that you can take to help you find your passion and your purpose. So when you fast forward that, I was like, I'm gonna put this to the side because I got X, Y, and Z going on because I was working on my feature film, Providence. Providence is now done, working on trying to get some form of distribution. But I have also rebranded my first book. So now it's Create Some Ish, Creating Without Fear. And you can find it on Amazon.
Yay.
And, it's just really, you know, it's a guide. It's a helpmate. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not professing to be a guru. I want to be like that big sister. You be like, Lenea said that. Yep, I saw that in her book. Yep. Lenea said, I'm trying to tell you, that's what Lenea said. Like, those are the things, like, or when somebody reach out to me, like, listen, I need your advice, because that's how I love talking to people. I love talking to people as if, we have known each other. Because at the end of the day, I want you to feel comfortable. I want to be
Right.
comfortable so we can have an organic conversation. I don't want it to be uncomfortable. So, and I want
Absolutely.
you to know that I'm here because we in the same boat. We are in the same boat, and you are 29. What I say, 29 episodes in, Miss Ma'am. So I need to give you your flowers for pushing
Thank
forward
you.
because I know that you probably had some hesitation, and you had some doubts, and you had some fears, but you 29 episodes in. I gotta play catch up to you when I start my podcast back again. How about that? Working.
Yeah. So this is the last question. How do you use your platform to empower, inspire women?
So with the rebranding, what I'm doing now, I'm making sure that when I put, whether it's an affirmation or a quote from the book, that is something that people can connect with. So this whole working, this rebranding thing, it's a learning process for me too. It's a learning curve because if you look at the Creative Itch page, everything that was on it before is gone. Everything that's going up now is brand new. To get people to engage with people, get them interested, to start the dialogue of, well, what is it that you want to do? Because sometimes people really don't know. And sometimes people are so scared to try. Like, just try. Like, I try everything. I don't care what it is. I try it. Just as long as I don't have to go to jail or I don't get hurt. I'm gonna try everything, especially when it comes to food. I'm trying everything because I don't want to. And Viola Davis has said this before. I don't want to leave here with my cup full. I want to know that I tried everything that I wanted to try while I was here. I don't want to just exist in life. I want to live life. So no matter what I'm going through and when life is life, I'm still living life. And I'm going out there and I'm trying new things and I'm just testing the waters on everything because if you don't try, how you gonna know? Now I don't like
Right.
cats, but if I like cats, I'll be knitting some sweaters for some cats because I'm allergic. I don't want to die. It's little things, and people think it has to be something like big. It does not have to be big. The smallest, what you think is small, can be very, very mighty. And that's what people don't understand. It's one thing at a time. And I'm gonna say this to you because this is the inspirational part where you come in. You're at your 29th episode, right? I was sitting over here going crazy, like, oh my God, how am I gonna start this podcast again? Knowing that I didn't even do that when I first did it. But because I'm in a different mind frame now, that imposter syndrome was trying to come back on me. And I had to be like, oh, wait a minute now. I didn't give myself this hard of a time before. What's the difference now when I have the time and I have the freedom to do it how I want to do
Right.
it? And even if there's another way, all I got to do is start. And I say this in my book, and it's my tagline. Every day you wake up, you get to start over.
Right.
Period. You wake up, you start over. When you don't wake up, you can't start over no more. So if you're not taking advantage of the fact that you're waking up every day and you're giving the opportunity to do something that you want to do, and you're not taking advantage of that, whose fault is it?
Absolutely.
Look in that mirror.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Yourself. You got to write things down, create a plan, stick to your plan. If
That's
things go outside of the plan, you just got to work around that. And that's what I
you
do every
pivot.
day.
You pivot. That's it. That's all. That's all that it is because you can't expect for it to be roses all the way. First of all, the joy is in the journey, good, bad, or indifferent. That's where all of your lessons are, not the end
Right.
result. So if you're not enjoying your journey, then what are you doing it for? I listen, you I can have 5 people following me right now. Guess what? There's 5 people that I didn't have before. So I gotta talk to them 5 people because guess what? Those 5 people are gonna tell somebody else about me. People are talking about you in rooms that you haven't even stepped in yet.
Amen.
You understand what I'm saying? And we take that for granted. Because if you're pure in what you're doing, if you're real in what you're doing, if you're authentic in what you're doing, people are talking about you in rooms you haven't stepped in yet. And I've
Yes.
gone through some stuff, child, and I know that what I've gone through, the people who know me, they know me. They support me. Even even those people who try to talk about me like a dog, guess what? I'm on your mind. You ain't on my mind. I'ma just keep doing what I gotta do. I ain't thinking about you.
Absolutely.
So, and if somebody come back and tell you that somebody was talking about you, ask them what they said about you. Because if you that comfortable to
Absolutely.
come back and tell me that, what you say?
Right.
That's all.
Right. It's been an honor talking to you today. I'm so grateful you took time out of your day to be on my platform.
Of course.
Thing you want the audience to know, any events coming, any way that they can connect with you?
Of course, you guys can follow me on social media. I'm Lynia Love on everything. My website is www.lenialove.com. Go ahead and get the ebook because I'm working on turning it into a paperback because I want to, start traveling with the book. I do have another book that I wrote. It's for crowdfunders, especially independent filmmakers, because I'm a filmmaker and I love filmmakers. So that one is done, and I got to go through the whole process and editing with that. So working on that one, and I'm going to do a virtual book launch for Create Some Ish, a guide to creating without fear. I'm going to be posting that and keeping people up to date on that on social media. And if you subscribe, go to my website. You can subscribe. You'll get first dibs on all the information before I put it on social media. And let people know what's going on. But like I said, slowly but surely, that's what I'm working on. If you follow me, I follow you back. I support you. I'll throw a shout out in my stories. I don't have a problem with that because what you do ain't stopping what I'm doing.
Right.
We got it. That's how we support each other.
That being said, thank you for tuning into Her Story Untold Studios. Your support means the world to us. Remember, every story we share is a beacon of hope and strength. No matter what you're going through, know that you are not alone. Together, we can overcome anything. Until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful, and keep sharing your light with the world. Take care, and we'll see you soon.